A sign in a Las Vegas casino aptly says, you must be present to win. To come into the present means to experience whatever is here and now. Most of us have spent our lives caught up in plans, expectations, ambitions for the future, and regrets, guilt, or shame about the past. When we come into the present, we begin to feel the life around us again, but we also encounter whatever we have been avoiding. We must have the courage to face whatever is present, our pain, our desires, our grief, our loss, our secret hopes, our love, everything that moves us most deeply. Each of us will find something from which we have been running, our loneliness, our unworthiness, our boredom, our shame, our unfulfilled desires. We must face these parts of ourselves as well. You may have heard of out-of-body experiences full of lights and visions. True spiritual path demands something more challenging. What could be called an in-body experience. We must connect to our body, to our feelings, to our life just now if we are to awaken. To live in the present demands an ongoing, unwavering commitment.
Signs of the Unseen by Rumi. Someone comes to the seashore, seeing nothing but turbulent water, crocodiles, and fish. He says, "Where are the pearls? Perhaps there are no pearls." How is one to obtain a pearl merely by looking at the sea? Even if one measures the sea cup by cup 100 times over, the pearls will not be found. One must be a diver in order to discover the pearls, and not every diver will find them. Only a fortunate, skillful one.
As always, I am in awe of how many people it takes to make a service. I think of the readers, I think of the musicians, the sound people, the ushers, the greeters, the membership folks that welcome us when we come in the door. And I am just always amazed at what a communal experience it is for us. And I'm grateful to be a part of that here again. Think of the reading that Wayne just did for us. Seeing nothing but turbulent water, crocodiles, and fish. Where are the pearls? He asked. Maybe there aren't any pearls. And the ancient 13th century Islamic mystic replies, how is one to obtain a pearl by merely looking at the sea? Even if one measures the sea cup by cup 100 times over, the pearls will not be found. One must be a diver in order to discover the pearls. And not every diver will find them, only the fortunate, skillful few. I think that's why we come here, that we meet on Sunday morning. We want to be skillful pearl divers in the sense that Rumi's image is a metaphor for the person whose life has meaning and who acts upon that meaning. The images of wholeness are present in every religion. Some of them may touch you, some of them may not. But the image of the skillful pearl diver touches me. We may approach religion rationally or spiritually or both. Or we may be interested primarily in the social aspect or the social justice aspect of religion. But in any case, it takes skill and practice and being present. I can measure the sea cup by cup and never find the pearls, unless I am willing to learn where the oysters lie and how to dive for them. It takes learning and it takes practice. Living a good life also takes learning and practice. It takes the mindfulness, the attentiveness to ourselves and to the simple things around us. A few nights ago, Bob, my husband, went out to put the trash out. So it was what would that be, a Wednesday night, because I think ours is collected on Thursday. And he called me to come out, and he said, look. And there was an almost full moon, and it was hiding and sticking out and behind scudding clouds. And it was so beautiful, it took my breath. On the other hand, this same week, I drove through a neighborhood I hadn't been in probably 35 years. And it tore at my heart. Attentiveness to the world around us is essential. I can never become what I want to become if I am not willing to work at it. Being a part of a religious community requires that willingness too. We can't find anything here in this congregation, nor can our children. We can't be nurtured here unless we're willing to learn, to practice, to become acquainted with each other, to listen to each other, to speak our own minds. Something that some of us don't have a whole lot of problem with, but others of us do. We have to invest our very being, which is why I love Cornfield's reading, you have to be present to win. It's probably a tacky neon sign in a casino in Las Vegas. But I find scripture that is true, meaningful words in a lot of different places. They're just all over the place. And it's true. You have to be present to win. I've heard so many people say, I don't like to come to church anymore because I don't know the people and I don't know what's going on here. And you can't know if you're not there. You have to be present to win. In the months of transition ahead with a new minister, you and I have to be here to win. Jack Cornfield is a Buddhist teacher. In the reading Cecil did, to come into the presence means to experience whatever is here and now. To live in the presence demands an ongoing and unwavering commitment. To be whole, to be fully human, to live attentively in this moment demands an ongoing and unwavering commitment. Hard as that may be when we are sick, when we are grieving, when we are in the midst of change, or simply fearful about our future, the unknown. I would hope that what we do is help each other to be fully human. I realized that I had never been able to say these things to you, but I will always be grateful to you, this congregation, for lending me the courage and the strength to leave here nearly 30 years ago to do what I needed to do. It was foolhardy to do so, even crazy. I think back on it and think just plain nuts. Why did I do that? I left my family, I left my home, I left my livelihood, my health insurance, no small thing in these days. I left all my security and went with only hope and courage or a dream. One time somebody said to me, "Oh, how courageous of you." And I said, "No, that's called foolhardy." But anyway, I thank you. I haven't had the chance to say thank you to you for that. It was absolutely the right thing for me to do, so thank you. You want to be the best you can be. I want to be the best I can be. We unfortunately know our own faults, or perhaps fortunately we know our own faults, our own weaknesses, our own disappointments that we lay upon those we love, that things when we just can't do it right, but we still want to do well despite all that we know about ourselves. For me, and I suspect for you, the religious community is a place where we draw courage, or you wouldn't be here. I also find models here, as I did so many years ago when I joined this congregation, and as I did in congregations I later served. Over the years, as I've stood by the bedside of those who are leaving their lives, I have been heartened by their courage, by their strength in earlier years, and as they were saying goodbye. Also, the Universalists and Unitarians who struggle for justice in this country are models for us. Their engagements with others for sound education, for voting rights, for women and children's rights, for the right to worship in our own way. They stand as exemplars before us. Look around you. Look around you. We are models for each other. It's really amazing, and we lend each other that strength. Jack Kornfield wrote, "Most of us have spent our lives caught up in plans, expectations, ambitions for the future, in regrets, guilt, and shame about our past. But if we live mindfully in this moment, this fleeting, precious moment, then we may encounter what we have been hiding, what we've been avoiding. Perhaps it is time to face the pain, the grief, the loss, the secret hopes, the fears, whatever moves us most deeply. If we have been running from any of these, they block our spiritual growth, our wholeness, our ability to live fully, to act out our best intentions. They block the ability to grow wise from such teachings offered us by the nearly full moon, or by those bursting red buds all around us right now, knowing that in 2 weeks they'll be gone. And yet they will bear fruit in the future. The religious community is a place in which we confront whatever blocks our wholeness, whether it be a loneliness, a sense of unworthiness, boredom even, shame, unfulfilled hopes or plans. We can encounter these parts of ourselves and survive. That's the trick. And survive and grow and find peace within ourselves. But it takes practice, a willingness to confront one's own being. We cannot obtain the pearl of peace in our hearts without diving deeply into our own being. Even then, Rumi admonishes us that we must be skillful and fortunate. Good fortune, plain luck, plays a part we can never, ever control. All of us will suffer from circumstances, from illnesses, from loss, uncertainty in our jobs that we can never, ever control. Blind luck will always be with us, but you surely can't win if you're not present. Who are we? We who wander into this building now and then. Who are we, and to whom are we connected? A bunch of religious liberals. We're connected to Unitarian Universalists across this continent. Go to a General Assembly, even just once, or to a district meeting, and you will know that there are thousands of us out there singing, working together to make the world a better place. And more than that, they're working for personal wholeness, for a growth of their own spirits that allows us to then turn around and act out in the world. We are also a bunch of people willing to explore some fairly difficult, important, and very uncomfortable questions. Religious questions, ethical questions, spiritual questions. And we don't agree on all of these. But we are willing to grapple with them. You know the current local situation in South Carolina better than I do. We got a little sidetracked this fall with Bob's heart surgery, so I feel like I'm just now becoming a citizen again of South Carolina. But it takes such work because we have not only to pay attention to the beauties that startle us in the night, but we have to pay attention to those things that rip up our hearts. Be aware of the poverty around us that reaches out to the disabled, to the elderly, our youth. Poverty so easy to overlook. A poverty that impoverishes the very spirit. As we heard last week from Cecil and from Christine about being Southern and being Unitarian Universalist, we are also people at variance, sometimes with our families, our co-workers, our friends, because we see religion in a different light. After I was ordained by this congregation and I had a church in Knoxville, I would go back to my hometown in southeast Missouri to see my aunt, the last of a generation. I had very, very little family. And so I was so glad to have this one aunt I could go see, and she was well into her 90s and a cotton farmer. And every time we had a visit, I knew that at some point in the visit she would look rather seriously at me and ask, "Now, why is it you didn't become a Methodist minister?" Unlike the three great monotheistic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and we learn from all those, we are not a religion of the Word, not the religion of a particular sacred text. We learn from all of those. We have not considered revelation to be a one-time thing. Rather, it is a truth that is available to all of us. And we learn from those around us. We learn from sacred books and texts and stories from so many cultures, as Alex has been discussing with us with the sources. We learn from their wisdom, but we don't see one sacred text as the last word. Our truth is colored by today. We will learn from tomorrow. We don't have all the answers. We do have a lot of questions, but we believe that the search for truth is worth the effort. I remembered something I had heard from one of my colleagues, Carl Scoville, who was the minister emeritus of the oldest Unitarian church, and it was Unitarian at that time, down in downtown Boston. And Carl said that we were a federation of faiths. And I kind of like that. That seems to describe us pretty well. We have no common theological center, which really bothers people. It is both our weakness and our strength. We can't make an easy elevator speech that people were working on in our denomination not so long ago. I never did come up with one of those things. I just found out it was a speech, not a sentence, and nobody wants a speech from 1 to 6. So our authority comes not from the Word, but from our own act of gathering, of meeting right here on Sunday mornings. We gain an authority from our meetings. We see the world reflected in our own sense of meeting, of ceremony, of worship, of actions within and beyond these walls. The proof of the pudding is how we live our lives. The be-all and end-all is our acting in the world. That's our work. If we are willing to be present, to grapple with the questions that lie deep within our being, our lives will be changed, as will the world. It will be changed. I will not say it is easy. Finding pearls has never been easy, hence their preciousness. Before long, we lose our interim minister, Alex Holt, who has taught us so much. There will be changes. Things will be different. It will be a rich time ahead for us to work with this new person. This will also help us all to look around us maybe in a new way and see things that we've missed before. To speak to each other in truth and in love about our needs and our desires. Just as each of us has personal challenges ahead, to stretch ourselves, to grow through facing our fears, our hopes, and whatever setbacks we face, like it or not. Jack Kornfield wrote in that piece Cecil read that we're not here to learn about out-of-body experiences. We have to learn about in-the-body experiences. We must connect to our bodies, our feelings, our hopes, to our world. To live in the present demands an ongoing and unwavering commitment. And you have to be present to yourself to win.